Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about making switchel, which is like a ginger shrub or a natural electrolyte drink with a kick. So to be able to make this drink, I do recommend that you get yourself some ginger root, some lemons, and some kind of sweetener. So you can use honey or you can use like a natural maple syrup, a real maple syrup, or something similar. And you're also going to want some apple cider vinegar. So to get into some more detail about these ingredients, if you are using a sweetener like honey, this one I'm using has saffron, which I think is really, really nice. Saffron has some really nice antidepressant benefits, which is lovely. But what you really want to get is something that's pesticide and antibiotic free. So it doesn't have to be organic, but the plants should be free from sprays and the bees non-medicated. And you're going to want something that was not pasteurized. So it doesn't have to say raw, but you do want to see that it isn't pasteurized. If you're choosing something like maple syrup, you do want it to be a single ingredient. Maple syrup can be organic because it is straight from the tree, whereas honey goes through bees, from the plant through the bees and then to us. So that cannot be, it's a little bit different. But this would not be considered vegan friendly. This would be a vegan friendly alternative. Now, in both cases, you want to make sure that you look at the ingredients. One thing that you might see on newer products coming out or newer labels is that it might say something about added sugars. As long as there's only one ingredient in your sweetener, it doesn't have sugar added. It is just considered sugar added to your diet now by both in the US and in Canada. Both our health boards, the Health Canada and the FDA, have decided that maple syrup or honey is going to say added sugar, meaning added to your diet, not that it contains added sugars. When it comes to your apple cider vinegar, one that has the mother, either that is unpasteurized, like this one says, or sometimes they say raw, will definitely do. You want to have that murky, kind of cloudy bit in it, which is where the probiotics are. That's nice. And then with ginger, generally you're going to want to go for organic or something that's not grown in China if you can find that. Obviously, if you can get something from a local farmer's market, that's great, because unfortunately a lot of the ginger grown in China, it can be exposed, even though it's not permitted to be used on ginger plants. It can be exposed to certain pesticides that are present in large quantities in the water and get into the plant that way. So either way, the back of a spoon is quite a nice way to remove the skin from your ginger. And once you've removed the skin, then you're going to peel it, you're going to cut it into several slices. When you have about a quarter cup or a half a cup, you can work from that. You're going to put it in a pot and you're going to cook it. So some people might not cook the ginger for their switchel. However, that's going to not bring out as much of the ginger flavor. And I like the ginger flavor, so I'm definitely going to cook my ginger to infuse the water with ginger flavor. All right, so here we are, we're back, and we have our ginger water, which was made by cooking some ginger in a pot and then straining the chunks of ginger out. I used a slotted spoon. You can do that however you like. Now, you're going to want some acidity. I have some organic lemons, as I said before, and I also have some apple cider vinegar. It's also fine to use only one or the other if you prefer. You do not need to use both. And of course, this is your drink, so you can make it how you like it. And that means as sweet as you prefer. I will say that generally honey is the preferred sweetener, but maple syrup can tend to be easier to work with because it's more liquidy, and it is something that tends to add a fair amount of flavor, but not as much sweetness as honey in a measure for measure kind of way. So you would probably add a full quarter cup. If you were doing something like maple syrup, I made a full cup worth of ginger slices, and then I used a full 5 cups of water. If you use a quarter cup of ginger, then you would use only 2 1/4 cups of, or 2 1/2 cups of water. When that was cooked down, you can see that it reduced a fair amount. This is a 32 ounce or a regular size mason jar. So this is how much I got out of it after letting it boil and sit. And then, you can add lemon juice. You can use whatever you have to get the lemon juice out. I will strain mine afterwards to get rid of any seeds. So I have a little strainer here. And I will also be adding apple cider vinegar. So the total amount of acidity that you want is probably going to vary based on where you are, how sweet you like things to be. But the usual balance is probably in the realm of the healthier side of the spectrum. So I would probably keep the sugar down and the lemon and the apple cider vinegar a little bit more prominent. But really what you're going to do once you've had this all made up, let's say you add a 1/4 cup of something acidic and then you add a 1/4 cup of something sweet, or you add a 1/2 cup of something acidic and a 1/4 cup of something sweet, then what you're going to do is mix that together with your ginger water. And then before you drink it, you're going to be able to dilute this, keep this as a concentrate, and you can dilute it about 4-to-1 before consuming. So you can use whatever kind of water you prefer. You can even use a sparkling if you prefer that to a still water. And then you have everything combined together, and you will be able to not have to keep that much in your fridge, so it's very convenient in terms of the amount of space that it takes up, but you'll be able to serve quite a few people drinks with even just a small batch, because it will make 4 times as much after you add the water or the sparkling water or what have you prior to serving. And then of course many people love their beverages cold, and they would definitely want it over ice. I prefer not to drink things cold because of my Asian heritage. I believe in drinking things at room temperature or drinking them warm. But you do you, and also this is going to be dependent on climate. I live in Canada, so for me, drinking things at room temperature is good enough. So I'm going to add a little bit of maple syrup, and I'm also going to add some of this lovely saffron honey. And then once I've got it all dissolved, I will be blending it together and allowing it to chill in the refrigerator. And then the water that I add to it later will be room temperature filtered water. So I hope that you enjoyed learning to make switchel. I hope that you'll tell me how you made it, how you liked it, what your favorite kind of recipe was, and enjoy. It's a little bit electrolyte beverage, a little bit of an energy beverage. It's a little bit of a refreshing lemonade. It's also a honey lemon drink, a ginger drink. I hope that you enjoy it. Take care.